The text from my brother arrived while I was in a board meeting, my phone lighting up on the conference table. Award ceremony next month is invitation only. Very exclusive. Don't want you to feel bad about not being included. These events are really for elite professionals who've actually accomplished something significant. You understand. I stared at the message, my jaw tightening. Around me, the Riverside Excellence Foundation board members were discussing next month's annual gala. The same event my brother was apparently trying to exclude me from. Dr. Mitchell? Margaret Torres, our VP of Operations, looked at me with concern. Are you all right? Fine, I said, putting my phone face down. Let's continue with the award categories. Margaret pulled up the presentation. We have 43 nominees this year across 8 categories. The Young Professional Achievement Award has particularly strong candidates. Your brother Daniel Mitchell is nominated for the Marketing Innovation category. My brother was nominated for an award from the foundation I'd run for 6 years. And he had no idea. What's Daniel's nomination for? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. His campaign for Henderson Financial, Margaret said. Increased client engagement by 32%. Impressive work, actually. He's one of 3 finalists in that category. Who are the other finalists? Sarah Chin from Riverside Tech and Marcus Park from the Innovation Hub. Both have exceptional portfolios. I pulled up the files on my tablet, reviewing each candidate's submission. Sarah's work had revolutionized her company's entire digital presence. Marcus had created a marketing framework now used by 15 regional startups. Daniel's campaign was solid but comparatively conventional. A good social media push with respectable results. What's the selection committee's recommendation? I asked. They're split, Margaret admitted. Sarah and Marcus are both outstanding. Daniel's submission is strong but not quite at the same innovation level. The committee suggested we might combine this category with brand excellence to create more distinction. Let's discuss that after we review all categories, I said, making a note. The meeting continued for another hour. After everyone left, I sat alone in my office looking at my brother's text message again. Elite professionals who've actually accomplished something significant. Daniel had no idea that I was Dr. Jordan Mitchell, President and CEO of the Riverside Excellence Foundation. To him, I was just Jordan, his older sibling who worked for some nonprofit, and never really made anything of themselves. He'd spent our entire lives being the golden child, star athlete, business degree from a prestigious university, fast-tracked career in marketing. I'd chosen a different path. Master's in nonprofit management, doctorate in organizational development, 15 years building the foundation from a small grant-making organization into the region's premier professional recognition program. We distributed $2 million annually in scholarships and grants. Our awards were considered the highest professional honor in Riverside. My phone buzzed again. My mother this time. Daniel is so excited about his award nomination. He says the ceremony is very exclusive. Apparently you weren't invited, but don't feel bad, honey. Not everyone can achieve at that level. Your nonprofit work is valuable too, just in a different way. I deleted the message without responding. Over the next 3 weeks, Daniel's texts continued. Photos of his new tuxedo. Updates about who else would be attending. CEOs, senior VPs, real business leaders. Reminders that the event was strictly for nominees and their approved guests, and that they're very particular about maintaining standards. Each message arrived while I was literally planning the event he was describing. Reviewing seating charts. Approving the menu. Finalizing the program. Writing speeches. Your brother's quite confident about winning, Margaret observed during one of our planning sessions. She knew. I'd quietly disclosed the family connection after the first meeting, making sure there was no conflict of interest in the judging process. The selection committee made all final decisions without my input on specific candidates. He's always been confident, I said. The committee finalized their decisions yesterday, Margaret said carefully. Marketing innovation is being absorbed into the new digital excellence category. The committee felt the submissions were too disparate to judge fairly in one category. Daniel's work, while good, didn't qualify for digital excellence. It was primarily traditional media. Saracen won digital excellence. Marcus Park is getting an honorable mention. And Daniel? No award. He'll receive a certificate of nomination, but he won't be presenting or recognized from the stage. I absorbed this information silently. Daniel had spent months telling everyone he was winning an award. He'd posted about it on social media, told our entire extended family, apparently used it to prove his superiority over me. He doesn't know I work here, I said. He thinks I don't actually know what he thinks I do. Something clerical maybe. Margaret's expression shifted from professional to sympathetic. How long has he been dismissive of your work? Always. When I got my master's, he asked why I'd waste time on more school when I could be making real money. When I was named foundation president, he said nonprofits were for people who couldn't hack it in real business. Last Thanksgiving, he told our cousins I stamped papers at a charity office. You manage a 50-person organization with an $8 million operating budget, Margaret said flatly. You've revolutionized how this region recognizes and develops professional talent. You've built partnerships with 30 corporations and established endowments that will fund excellence for generations. He doesn't know that. He's never asked. Maybe, Margaret said carefully, it's time he found out. The gala was held at the Grand Riverside Hotel, the ballroom transformed into an elegant celebration of achievement. I arrived early in my formal attire, a tailored navy suit that had cost more than Daniel's tuxedo, though he'd never know it. As president, I'd be giving the opening remarks, presenting several awards and closing the evening. My name was in the program dozens of times. My photo was in the lobby alongside the board of directors. Daniel arrived with his girlfriend Amber, both of them dressed to impress. I watched from the mezzanine as they checked in, Daniel's chest puffed with self-importance. Are you sure about this? Margaret asked beside me. You could still have someone tell him privately before the ceremony starts. No, I said. Let him figure it out himself. The ballroom filled quickly. 400 guests, actual elite professionals as Daniel would say. CEOs, entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders, innovators. I recognized at least 50 people I'd worked with directly over the years. Daniel and Amber found their table, table 34 toward the back. Nominees who weren't category winners were seated away from the stage. Daniel kept looking around, clearly expecting to be called forward at any moment. At 7 o'clock sharp, the lights dimmed. I walked onto the stage as the spotlight hit me. Good evening and welcome to the Riverside Excellence Foundation's annual gala. I heard a gasp from table 34. Even from the stage I could see Daniel's face go white. I'm Dr. Jordan Mitchell, President and CEO of the Riverside Excellence Foundation. It's my honor to celebrate tonight's remarkable nominees and winners. The room applauded. Daniel sat frozen, his mouth open. Amber was looking between me and Daniel with obvious confusion. I continued with my prepared remarks, thanking sponsors, acknowledging board members, explaining the foundation's mission. Professional, polished, every word carefully crafted. This was my event, my organization, my speech. When I finished opening remarks and left the stage for the first award presentation, I could see Daniel frantically typing on his phone. Probably Googling my name, finally bothering to learn what I actually did. The ceremony proceeded smoothly. Young Entrepreneur Award presented by Margaret Torres. Community Impact Award presented by our board chair. Healthcare Innovation Award presented by our Medical Advisory Council leader. Then came the Marketing and Communications categories, combined this year into 3 distinct awards. I returned to the stage. The marketing landscape has evolved dramatically, I said. Traditional approaches still matter, but true innovation requires adapting to new platforms, new audiences, new possibilities. This year's nominees demonstrated excellence across this spectrum. I saw Daniel lean forward, his confidence returning. He thought this was his moment. The Brand Excellence Award recognizes outstanding traditional marketing campaigns. This year's winner increased brand visibility through strategic media partnerships and community engagement. I named a winner from a healthcare organization. Not Daniel. The Digital Excellence Award recognizes innovation in digital platforms and online engagement. This year's winner revolutionized her company's entire digital presence, creating frameworks now adopted industry-wide. Sarah Chen walked to the stage, gracious and deserving. Still not Daniel. And the Marketing Innovation Honorable Mention, recognizing promising emerging approaches, goes to Marcus Park of the Innovation Hub. Marcus accepted his certificate. Daniel's face had gone from confident to confused to something approaching panic. I presented 4 more awards, then gave closing remarks. The ceremony ended without Daniel's name being called from the stage. Around the room, nominees were congratulating winners, taking photos, networking. Daniel sat at table 34, staring at his phone. As guests filtered into the reception area, I saw Daniel approaching, Amber trailing reluctantly behind him. "Jordan," he said, his voice tight. "Can we talk?" "Of course. Congratulations on your nomination. You're the president of this foundation." "I am. Have been for 6 years." 6 years. He repeated it like he couldn't process the information. "You've been running this organization for 6 years and you never told me?" "I told you," I said calmly. "Multiple times. When I was promoted to VP of Programs, I sent you the press release. You replied cool, and then asked if I'd seen your new car. When I was named president, I invited you to the announcement ceremony. You said you had a golf tournament. At Christmas, I tried to explain what the foundation does, and you interrupted to talk about your promotion to senior marketing manager." Daniel's face cycled through emotions. "But you said you worked in nonprofit. You never said you ran the whole organization. You never asked what my title was. You assumed nonprofit meant small and insignificant. You decided my work didn't matter without ever bothering to learn what it actually was." He faltered. "I thought you were like a program coordinator or something. I didn't know you were running a multi-million-dollar operation." "Would it have mattered if I were a program coordinator?" I asked quietly. "Would that work be less valuable? Less worth respecting?" Daniel had no answer to that. Amber touched his arm. "Daniel, you told me your sibling worked at a charity thrift store." "I never said that," Daniel protested weakly. "You did," she said firmly. "You said Jordan sorted donations at some nonprofit. You made it sound like volunteer work." I watched Daniel struggle with the reality in front of him. "About your award," I said. "The committee made all selection decisions independently. I disclosed our family connection and recused myself from any discussions about your nomination. The decision to restructure the categories came from the professional evaluation panel, not from me. So I didn't win because the category was cancelled? The category was restructured because the committee felt the submissions were too disparate to judge fairly. Your traditional media campaign couldn't be compared directly to Sarah's digital innovation work. They were both excellent but in fundamentally different ways. But I didn't get anything. Not even an honorable mention. You received a certificate of nomination, which is significant. Being nominated by your organization shows they value your work. Not winning doesn't diminish that." "Everyone thinks I was getting an award," Daniel said desperately. "I told everyone, Mom, Dad, all our cousins. I posted about it online. People congratulated me. What am I supposed to tell them now?" "That you were nominated for a prestigious award," I suggested. "That's the truth. Or you could tell them that your sibling runs the foundation, and you had no idea because you never bothered to learn what they actually did for a living." Daniel flinched. "I'm not trying to hurt you," I said softer now. "But Daniel, you spent months telling me this event was for elite professionals. You said I wouldn't be invited because I hadn't accomplished anything significant. You've spent our entire lives treating my work as less important than yours because it doesn't involve corporate profits. Maybe this is an opportunity to examine why you think that way." "I didn't mean." "You did mean it. You've always meant it. Public service, nonprofit work, social impact. You've never valued any of it. You measured success purely by salary and status." Margaret approached, tactfully interrupting. "Dr. Mitchell, the board wants a photo with you and tonight's winners." "I'll be right there." I turned back to Daniel. "I need to go. There's a reception upstairs if you'd like to stay. The networking is excellent. These are some of the most accomplished professionals in the region." I walked away, leaving Daniel standing in the emptying ballroom. The next morning, I found 17 missed calls and a dozen text messages from my family. "My mother, Daniel is devastated. Why didn't you tell us about your position? We could have supported you." "My father, your brother is very upset. This could have been handled better." Daniel's messages were longer, angrier, spiraling through blame and self-justification before landing on something approaching apology. I responded to none of them immediately. Instead, I went to my office and reviewed evaluations from the gala. Attendees rated it the best event we'd ever produced. Winners were thrilled. Sponsors were impressed. The foundation's reputation had grown stronger. That afternoon, Margaret knocked on my door. "Daniel Mitchell is in the lobby. He'd like to speak with you if you have time. Send him up." Daniel entered my office slowly, taking in the space. The diplomas on the wall, the awards on the shelves, the photos from foundation events with mayors and CEOs and community leaders. "I had no idea," he said finally. "I know. All this time I thought, I don't know what I thought, that you were just getting by. Doing something that made you happy but wasn't really important. Why did you think that?" He sat down heavily. "Because you didn't fit my definition of success. You weren't making 6 figures out of college. You weren't climbing corporate ladders. You chose impact over income, and I thought that made you less ambitious, less successful. And now I'm realizing I'm the one who's less successful," Daniel said quietly. "You're running an organization that shapes careers and changes lives. You're recognized as a leader in your field. You've built something that will outlast both of us. And I've been proud of a 32% engagement increase on a social media campaign. Your work matters too," I said. "Good marketing helps organizations thrive. But it's not more important than what I do. It's not less important. It's just different." "I was so sure I was winning that award," Daniel admitted. "I told everyone. I used it to prove I was successful. And then you walked onto that stage and I realized I'd been measuring success all wrong." "What are you going to tell people?" "The truth. That I was nominated, not selected. That my sibling runs the foundation and I had no idea because I never paid attention to their career. That I've been an arrogant ass who needs to reevaluate his priorities." "That's a good start." Daniel looked at me for a long moment. "Can we try again? Can I actually learn about what you do? Not because you're important now, but because I should have cared all along." "Maybe," I said. "But Daniel, this can't be about you suddenly respecting me because I have an impressive title. If I were still a program coordinator, which is vital, important work, I'd deserve the same respect." "I know. I'm starting to understand that." "Then yes, we can try." He stood to leave, then paused at the door. "For what it's worth, that was an incredible event. You're really good at this." "Thank you." After he left, I returned to my desk. There was work to do, grant applications to review, programs to develop, next year's gala to begin planning. The work that had always mattered whether anyone recognized it or not. The work that would continue mattering long after any individual award or accolade faded. Some people measure success in trophies and titles. I'd learned to measure it in impact and meaning. And by that metric I'd been successful all along.